So Donnell is going to bring up the slides in a moment, hopefully. So Donnell is going to
Hold on.
Did everyone get to hear me twice? Whoa.
Only because of Facebook Live, you're good.
So I want to welcome a few folks I've not met, and I'm glad they're in our room today. And ho, here we go. We welcome you. You'll find us serious and informal. We have some great protocols we follow. And with that, you see past attendees and past presenters. So to everyone who is new, welcome. We're an amazing chapter of 1 Million Cups. And Donnell, if you'll be so kind to change to the next page, please, if you haven't already, go to the mobile app, download it, 1 Million Cups app if you haven't. Sometimes it doesn't work, delete it, reload it. Please sign in. We get the benefit, the credit when national 1 Million Cups Foundation knows that we've held our meeting and how many people attended. So thank you. I'm sure you can follow these instructions. Next slide, please. The foundation started by the Ewing-Kaufman family, the Ewing-Kaufman Foundation, focuses on entrepreneurship, community, and education. And today we're really lucky because Mark Silverman is in our room and he's going to present in just a few moments, but he's going to open himself up to our community so that we all learn, that we all become educated. And many of you have seen a video that a bunch of different people, either past presenters or organizers, are in. And when I was asked what I thought the benefit was, I said I learn every week. Because perhaps you, Travis, or you, Lisa, or Karen, will ask a question that will stimulate me to think about something in my business or a client's business. And that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, community, and education. And that's why we applaud Mark for being a presenter again, because just several years ago he's presented. And as you can imagine, we've all taken twists and turns. So next slide, please. I've kind of expressed the mission, but we want to remove and reduce barriers to the access to education, resources, and connections for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs. Next page, please. So among our pillars, we make presentations, not pitches for money. The beauty of coming here every Wednesday is we figure out for you new people whether we can trust you. Because I can tell you the folks I've known in the last year plus, and I've already been involved for several years, I know that I can trust them. And it's only by consistency and being here and having discussions beyond the room that you really build authentic connections. And that's what we're about. And we are run for and by the community. And we'll talk about what that means. Next slide, please. So, really important that people have values. And in order for the Mark Silvermans of the world to be able to stand up in front of all of us, our room has to be safe and supportive. It's all about the folks in the room, whether you're the presenter or the audience, because you showed up to support what we're doing. And I love the next four words: radical and intentional inclusivity. I paused because of the importance of all of us thinking about those words. We are all organizers who run this group. Next slide, please. And you'll see our beautiful and handsome faces in a moment. But if you want to be involved, we need you to be involved, to join our community. Here are a bunch of ways, and just quickly scan this, and we'll come back to all of the different links that are relevant. But be active. You get more out of stuff you're active in. Next slide. There you go. You know, either take a picture of this, share it, search it, chat it up, tweet it up, invite your friends to 1 Million Cups. Next slide, please. So we used to go around the room and let everyone have 30 seconds, but your time is too valuable. I recognize Donnell Johns, Jen Dalton, John Yu, Melinda Siegel, Rosemarie Savino, Leslie Rakelian, and Tess Rollins. And they work hard to bring this weekly presentation together. And we seek one more organizer. So if you have interest in becoming an organizer, speak with anyone of this group. It's not a big commitment. We meet Monday mornings for a quick 30 minutes. Each of us has a task or two that might take another half an hour or an hour in a week. It's well worth it. It's all about authentic connections, and we have them in that group. Next slide, please. We also have brand ambassadors whose job is to find us presenters. They're the salespeople. And again, in the interest of time, I see Reggie. I'm not sure if any of the others are in the room, but I commend them. And each of them, in his or her own communities, are adding to the pipeline of presenters. If anyone in the room would like to present, please send me an email, call me, ask any of the brand ambassadors. Go to the homepage of 1millioncups.com/Fairfax, and it has a big sign that says apply here to present. Next slide, please. Okay, we have two sponsors every month, and I know John Yu is not here. John Yu owns the Tyson's Corner Office Evolution. He's been a member of 1 Million Cups much longer than I. They provide all types of executive office privileges, from office use through mailbox and phone reception, I'm sure. And this morning, it's great to introduce Rosemarie Savino, who this month is the coffee sponsor. And with that, you know, everybody's drinking her or his own coffee this month and in our virtual world. But let's raise a cup to AEG and to Office Evolution for those of us who are coffee drinkers. Rosemarie.
Thank you, John. I'm thrilled to be our coffee sponsor this month. Hope you're all enjoying your virtual cup of whatever you're drinking. As John mentioned, the Association for Enterprise Growth is this month's coffee sponsor. We are an ecosystem now growing nationally, but headquartered here in the DMV of vetted, highly successful professional service practitioners that are serving mid-market companies. So those are between $2 million and $250 million of the annual revenue. If you want to know more about AEG, if you're interested, or if you are yourself a practitioner that supports mid-market companies, please contact me. I will put my contact information into the chat. We hold monthly meetings here in the DC area and in Baltimore, and we are soon expanding to Florida and other points, south, west, and north of the DMV. I almost said east, but not east. Thanks.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Also, by the way, before I go to the next slide, please, if you'd like to be a coffee sponsor, just ask John Yu or any of the organizers. We love coffee sponsors. You know, it costs the cost of coffee. So we would deliver to John Yu's Office Evolution 5 pounds of coffee for the month. You don't even have to do that. You just get to give your pitch. So if you'd like to give your pitch, that's all it is, man. It's free advertising. If you're really smart, you pick the months with 5 Wednesdays. Just a little tip from 1 Million Cups. Everyone, please read how our virtual meetings work so we can move past. Everyone's using the electronic hand. Everybody knows to stay on mute. Next slide, please. Yep, great. So I'm very excited to introduce Mark Silverman. And in 10 seconds, I'm going to turn it back to him, over to him. But I just want to say thank you because, as I mentioned earlier, Mark is presenting for the second time. And that's amazing for us because we started that as part of our strategy of finding and generating more interest in 1 Million Cups. And we're finding it appeals. So I thank you so much for a second time coming back and be willing to open up and tell us about your business and the important challenge that you have. And with that, thank you again. I turn it over to you, Mark.
Well, thank you, John. I appreciate it. I love being back here. I wish it was in person because there's so many of my favorite people on the panel here that I would love to hug. So virtual hug to everybody. So yeah, I'm back after 3 years. I did this 3 years ago, and it was really useful. When I got the call, excuse me, by the way, my dogs, if we were in person, would not be invited to this call. If you can hear them, someone is putting something on my front steps. Now, next slide. It's really loud in here. So I have a challenge question. 3 years ago, I came looking to figure out how to expand my business. Just 2 weeks ago, I decided on a new business venture within my business, got the call to come to 1 Million Cups. I was like, wow, how fortuitous to ask really smart people how I can step forward in this part of the business. What I love is a lot of you, all of you are entrepreneurs. A lot of you came from the corporate world. How many people came from corporate and moved into their own kind of business? So what I would love is if you can put your corporate hat on and remember what it was like to be there and the kind of people you needed to work with, because that's who I generally serve, is a more larger company corporate constituency. So I have created a group program out of the business that I already have to help fast rising high achievers. Now this could be newly promoted, or it could be people already on the executive team in the C-suite who have just risen through the ranks really fast. A lot of times they have trouble becoming effective leaders of their teams. They're used to being individual contributors. My challenge right now is what message will resonate? Next slide, if that's okay. So I was in technology sales for decades, and in 2013 turned to become an executive coach. Since then, my clientele has grown. I've become quite successful. and it's been a wonderful ride. If you can go to the next slide, please. Awesome. So my business has been 100% referrals. No matter how much advertising, no matter how much networking I do, it's always someone says you have to go work with Mark. My business makes up, I do speak, I do workshops. I've written several books. My book, Only Tens, by the way, you can get a free copy of your book if you go to the book, if you go to my website, go to resources, you can get a free copy of the book. It's sold over 75,000 copies. And I do workshops around the world on the principles of time and energy management. Have had 2 podcasts with over 400 episodes, Mastering Midlife, How to Thrive When the World Asks Most of You, and now Mastering Overwhelm. What I've been struggling with is online and group programs, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Can we go to the next slide? And you guys give me the 2-minute warning, correct? You know, so I don't go over, right? So what happened was when I became a coach, my approach was pretty general. I did leadership coaching. I did life coaching for rising leaders and for seasoned entrepreneurs. I did a lot of midlife crisis kind of stuff. It was time and energy mastery. I did a lot of spirituality and transformation. It was a little vague. I was quite successful. You know, I was pulling in a good revenue, about $250,000 a year. Next slide. But over the last 2 or 3 years since I presented, my focus and the people who have gravitated towards my practice have been these rising leaders. They've been people who've been promoted really fast, often all the way to the executive leadership team, but they don't have the leadership skills that they need. They clash with the CEO, they clash with their peers. So helping them learn how to manage up and lead up, how to collaborate with their peer group and lead within that group. They help, they're used to being, individual contributors who, got their self-esteem by how much they did instead of working towards success through others. And then helping them kind of lead themselves and become the leaders that they need to be. So that has become about 95% of my one-on-one clients. And that's doubled my income to over $400,000 a year, maybe $500,000 this year. So it's been really, really lucrative for me. Next slide. The problem, the challenge I have is most of my revenue comes from executive coaching. I'm not complaining. It's been a great living. I just turned 60. I would like to figure out how to leverage my business and expand my business so that I can work on my retirement in the future. And I'd like to see my income go from about $400,000 or $500,000 a year to about $1 million a year. The way I'm doing that is my speaking has really taken off. The one-to-one coaching is doing great. The next evolution here is definitely a group program. Next slide. So the challenges that I've run into and why I've been hired so many times is these individual contributors are trying to learn success through others. And they really, kind of crash and burn when they see that people don't perform to the level that they've been able to perform. Adjusting to the new role, being part of the company and being one of everybody, and then moving to the leadership team and now being them, you're always railing against them and now you're them. Making that shift in where your gravity has been really tough for people. Focusing on the right things when everything comes at you in all different directions, when the CEO or the leadership committee has every different priority, focusing on the right things that'll make you successful has been really hard. And they're usually motivated, hyper motivated, maybe driven, and keeping life in perspective has been really a challenge. Next slide.
Yeah.
So
Mark, I'm
yes.
going to give you, I texted you, then I raised my hand. Now I'm interrupting to give you the 1.5 minute warning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we can move to the Q&A.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You bet.
So I've finally codified what I do with these rising leaders, and I really help them do the different things that we just talked about, leading up, leading with their peers, being the leader for their team and leading themselves. Next slide. So what I'm trying to figure out is what I'm missing. The value proposition that I'm already thinking about, and you can see here, is how do we get these people to be impactful faster? How do we make sure that people don't flame out and rise to the level of their incompetence. And we know about the Great Resignation. How do we keep people motivated, people moving up through the ranks? The company needs those types of things. They need impact fast. They need retention. They need good leaders. For the participants, and if I could get groups from organizations, from bigger organizations, they get the skills that they need to succeed, right? That when they're promoted, they succeed at this new job. They can create a peer group rather than fighting with the people who are on their same level. They have a peer group and they become supportive. They learn how to have an effective voice with the leadership team, and they avoid burnout. Next slide. So we're back to my challenge question is, it's always about the value proposition. I know the substance is what people need because I've been making a living at it. Now, how do I make this resonate with leadership teams so that they part with their money so that they can have more effective leaders? Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic. So I'm hoping that I have another organizer in the room who is our moderator. And is that possibly you, Donnell?
I believe it's Rosemarie, but she has her hand up.
Okay, yeah. Rosemarie, it's you. Am I correct?
I don't know. You could be correct. You might not be correct.
It looks like she's in her mobile office.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I am in my mobile office.
Listen, I'm happy to do both roles, unless another organizer wants to step forward.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me ask my question of Mark, and then I will tee up the next person if someone wants to put up their hand.
Yeah, please raise your hands with questions. And Rosemarie, ask your first question. We'll go from there.
Hi, Mark. It's great to see you. I'm glad to hear that things are going really well and that you're thinking about the next step. So, I put not just my corporate hat on, but I put my product manager hat on here. And the challenge as I see it is that you have to speak with a buyer persona and you have to speak with a user persona. So the user is your participant and the buyer is your corporate decision maker who's actually going to pay your invoice. And so the first thing I would do is think about who it is you have to convince in a company. It's probably going to be HR because this will be folded into an HR program. So what an HR leader is need is how does it satisfy my HR requirements and what is my ROI, right? So if you think about satisfying those two questions for the decision maker, then the next part is what is the user? I think a lot of what you had in your previous slide is really kind of the things that the users want, right? So in product management philosophy, buyers make decisions, but they make decisions based on a checklist. And users have pain points, fight with the buyers to put those pain points on the checklist, right? So some of these elements for both participant and decision maker overlap. Burnout, retention, all of those things will resonate deeply with both sides of that decision process. But I think specifically, if you can quantify with hard numbers, even percentages, right? So if you go back to some of the people you've coached one-on-one, can figure out how many you saved from turning over, translate that into how much it costs to find a good leader, raise up a good leader, or go in and do a little bit of research and find out for companies to actually take someone from the outside, upskill them to the level of the folks that they have, like what that would cost, just to have some hard numbers, because that's part of their checklist. Even in HR, where they've got a lot of squishy requirements, they still have to have a bottom line number. So I'd say that's the biggest thing.
So, Rosemary,
Thank you.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think next is Lisa.
Yep.
Hang on. Hi. I really appreciated this program, like wearing it with the hat of my husband being an emerging leader in his organization, and thinking about how there are different, how do I want to put this? As Rosemary was saying, you have different needs that you're serving, but there's a bigger overall thing that you do, which is you save careers. You save people from getting fired, from getting kicked out of the company, and from that overall burnout. And I think that bigger, like, look to your meta thing. Like, yes, you need to niche down and figure out the things that Rosemarie was saying as a selling point, but also look to the meta thing of, you know, when you talk about managing overwhelm, when you talk about leading up and learning leading skills, what's the bigger purpose there? You know, you're making a person whole, but you're doing that so that they can have a thriving life. And along the way, you're saving their career. And I think that is something that it's very squishy, but it's also very relatable. Like, who doesn't want to save their employees from, you know, painful career outcomes?
Wow, thank you. Thank you.
Awesome, Lisa. Thank you so much. I think Carolyn, you're next, and then Reggie, and then John.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, and thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it. I'm looking at it from where you say you want to go. You wanted to go to group coaching and whatnot. Are you? My first question to ask is: are you expecting those HR personnel to fill your group coaching, or are you looking to go with that from the referral space, which is what you're more familiar with? And if you are going to the referral space, which means you're going to directly to the person, a second question would be, how are you addressing the imposter syndrome that some high-rising, fast-growing leaders tend to show up with? Thank you.
So I think the question of imposter syndrome, that's part of the program. That's part of dealing with self-esteem, and the shift in self-esteem is, so a lot of this is what's not in the leadership books, what they don't tell you in the leadership books about leadership and about rising in leadership. So that's a huge one.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Reggie, you're up.
Hey, Mark, great presentation. I had I guess a question about, so I know, like, a lot of leaders, you know, of my generation, they don't think in terms of, you know, being with the company or organization for really long periods of time. They move from company to company is very common. And so what I felt like might be missing or could be added was this idea of lifelong leadership, and how what you're teaching people is translatable to any business, to, you know, any setting where leadership is required, which is basically everything. So I would definitely make sure that that's folded into the messaging. So it's not so much you and this company that you're in right now and trying to rise to the top of that company, because a lot of people don't even envision themselves at the top of that particular company. It might be something else completely different. That's just sort of how that generation thinks. So I would just make sure that the focus is really on lifelong leadership, and how, you know, the principles and things that you're teaching people can translate to any type of leadership in any setting.
That's a really good point, Reggie. Thank you. Because I think I'm in my own echo chamber of people who are crushing it at particular companies, and I'm coaching them for 3 years, you know, as they rise. So I need to look at that. Thank you.
All right, John Rutenberg, and then Lisa has another question.
Hey, thank you, Rosemary. You make an excellent moderator. So, Mark, again, thank you very much. As I think about your challenge question, and there are two audiences, I start focusing on the pain points, and really, it's the boss and the up and comer, and the HR person has to deal with it. And somewhere between the boss and the HR person is the decision to hire. And then absorption is a function of the willingness of the up and comer.
Right.
So, and that clash, most people, even the most aggressive, don't really want to have that clash, but that clash is and the anguish leading up to it, if you will, is sort of the pain point. So I would, and of course, you're the salve that eliminates or reduces the pain ultimately. And I think that's where the message should focus. And you have some of the words, but, and it's really down to one sentence, maybe two max.
Mm.
Okay, so we could wordsmith, I'm happy to at any point, but we could wordsmith the bullets, if you will, and I'll stop at that point for the moment.
Yeah, thank you. 90% of my income comes from CEOs calling me saying they're really talented, but they're a bull in the china closet. Please teach them manners.
That's what speaks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there it is.
Awesome. Thanks, John Rutenberg. Lisa, you're up next. And Mark, I have another one for you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you for another opportunity to talk. I think a lot of people are giving you valuable feedback. And so my question is, knowing that a lot of people have education funding to develop lifelong skills, building on Reggie's points, can you create cohorts of clients with similarities that you could, they would be a powerful set of peers to know? It would be wonderful for women to have a group of their own for those facing family transition issues, whether it's, okay, everybody just left the house, or, oh my God, I'm a rising exec and my wife just had triplets, which happened to a friend of mine. So like finding those cohorts, and therefore the person buying from you being the client themselves, using the HR money that they get in their, annual allowance, which in a lot of places is really generous. So.
Thank you.
Awesome idea, Lisa. Thank you so much. So, Mark, first of all, a great presentation. I didn't say this earlier, but I'm happy to help you on the product management speak side of setting things up. If you'd like help just speaking to that ROI thing, I can help you with that. But I wanted to follow up with another thought, kind of adding on to what Lisa was saying, and thinking a little bit through some of the implications of having high achievers move quickly and trying to find those situations where you can bring a group together, because you're really looking to add more group work, right? Not necessarily one-on-one coaching. So I think speaking to CEOs of the companies that have this issue as a group, sort of following on Lisa, right? Can you find groups of these CEOs that are coming together that they may not be thinking that this is a problem, but it's manifesting in other ways? So either through LinkedIn articles, the speaking engagements you already have, some of those other issues, but also, Gretchen's podcast, I Am CEO. I'm sure that there's a really good, your own podcast, other podcasts, and then just kind of reaching out through your SHRM connections and other places, like where are these CEOs coming together? Some opportunities at AEG that I'll talk with you about, but these are key topics that, especially, and this is really to Reggie's point, especially younger people who have been successful as individual contributors, when they get pulled up the ranks, especially quickly, and especially nowadays where there really isn't a lot of training in companies, they really need help. And so kind of reinstituting leadership development programs inside of companies might just be finding not only the participants, but the CEOs who have this problem together. So that's what I was thinking.
Thank you.
Yep. John, and then I'll check in on chat to see who's up.
Sure. Hey, thank you. Wanted to refer back to an earlier comment you made and hopefully tie it to your challenge question. Your comment, which was awesome, was that a very large percentage of your business comes from your referral sources. And, you know, that's very powerful, and a credit to you, of course, but very powerful as you market forward. And I don't know enough about those referral sources to know which ones might also be relevant to this particular product, if you will. But I'd love you to talk about how you met these referrers in the first place, and you know, what is their profile? Other professionals in the industry, or just you tell us? Because it's so important to have referrers.
Right. So they've been other coaches who know what my specialty is, and they coach in a different area. Then when I have coached in certain organizations, usually the CEO calls another CEO and says, Mark can fix that person. Mark can fix, you know, and they start passing me around. So that's basically how it's been. It's been other coaches who know what I do. And then it's been business leaders, CEOs who have passed me around kind of as a resource to a point of overcapacity, which is really, I'm blessed.
Good. Donnell, did you have a question?
Well, it looks like Justin has a question first.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Great presentation, Mark. I guess I just have a quick question for you. You mentioned wanting to get the messaging targeted to two parties, but it sounds like you just answered your own question there by saying the referrals are coming from CEOs and the leadership groups. So I would really ask the question, is that who we should be focusing on the messaging, and then positioning you as, you know, the old story brand framework? You're the guy that's going to make the CEOs, employees heroes, right? Solve all their problems.
Thank you.
John, did you have another question, or are we going to Donnell for our, or Donnell, did you have a question?
No, I have a question.
Yeah.
Go for it, Donnell.
I actually have feedback. Mark, I think you already have the messaging. You just need the mechanism to put them in. You already have the people, you already have the relationships. You just need to build it and then put them in the hopper. And if you already have it built, execute it. Because the people are already there that you have already worked with. Just give them the opportunity to, because they're going to love to be a part of a group with people like them, like-minded people, like-minded people, and they need to be able to work with each other. And so, like I had the leadership and laughter training, that went on autopilot. Every month I had it at a specific date and time. Yours need to just be at a specific date and time where you can just start putting those people in it and say, okay, yeah, this next cohort is this date. Sign up for this date, and this is how much it costs. And you already know what the value, they already know what the value is. Even these other CEOs already know what the value is because you already have those relationships. Just put them in there because they need to graduate from being that one-on-one person to being a group leader at that level. And then they can build off of each other and have those type of conversations with each other. And so my recommendation is just to build it and execute it. And you'll.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rosemary.
Awesome, Donnell. John, go ahead, John.
Yeah, just to build on that, from a marketing point of view, if you ran a Zoom meeting with 3 or 4 of those CEOs to just get their feedback on some of your content or on some of your messaging, you'd probably have 3 or 4 buyers by the end of that 45-minute focus group, like right off the bat, based on, if you listen to Donnell execute, it's right there because it's built in for you, sir.
Thank you.
I did want to add one more thing is allow them to talk about their experience and what they received from it and use that as your messaging. Because it really should be their voices, saying, hey, I went to this and these are the problems that he solved for me. And that's why I'm here. And allow that to be your message.
Thank you.
Great insights, Donnell and John. Okay, final opportunity for someone to ask or offer their final insights for Mark. All right, Donnell, it's up to you to ask our final question then.
Oh man, this is awesome. Mark, first of all, thank you for coming back. I love to see your growth. This is pretty cool to have you come back and then tell us, what your next stage is. And then you have more books, which is pretty cool. So my final question is, what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Yeah, the follow-up. There was a couple people who offered follow-up conversations. I'd like to take you up on it, and I will contact you and ask those more specific questions. So thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you. I'm going to pass it back over to John.
Thank you. Thank you. So I mentioned earlier that we need presenters. And so you can see we have some opportunities for future presenters. We do have someone, I haven't closed the deal on the 24th, but someone has now shown interest in the 24th. But please, if you're someone who's here to sort of kick the tires and see what we're all about, we'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to consider presenting and never presented before, reach out to any of the organizers or ambassadors. We'll walk you through the process. Again, some people in the future are shown on the right. And with that, please, next slide. I did see Karen Smaw in the room earlier. Karen, are there events you would like to mention in addition to the ones that are listed here?
John, hi. Thank you for the opportunity to share information. We do have the Entrepreneurship 101 Starting a Business in Fairfax County event coming up on September 13th. Short of that, that is the only event within the next month and a half for the EDA. But I will definitely keep you all posted as these new events are scheduled. Thank you.
Our pleasure, and thank you as always for being part of our chapter of 1 Million Cups. So here is a great list of a range of networking opportunities. Take a screenshot if that will be helpful to you. I'm not going to go through all of them. Is there anyone here among the organizers or from one of the chambers who listed these events that would like to highlight it?
I will always plug my event, which is the Veteran Business Pop-Up Shop in Woodbridge, Virginia. We're open Saturday and Sunday. If you want to come out and support veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs, please come on out. It's Saturday from 11 to 6 and Sunday from 11 to 5. And if you're a veteran or a military spouse or a dependent of a veteran, we have our Veterans Connect. The date is, the next one is actually the August 25th. It's not on here, but it's August 25th. That same link that you use here is how you could become a part of it.
Excellent. Thank you, Donnell. And by the way, I'd like a round of applause for Donnell because he's the slide person today. Just to show you the depth of the organizer team when Melinda wasn't here, Donnell just stepped up and handled it. Next slide, please. Do you remember how to do that? I can show you if you need to. So, hey.
I have a PhD in slides now.
We need organizers, we need presenters. This is about as big a pitch as we make. If you want to be an organizer and a leader of the best damn chapter across America of 1 Million Cups, we are it. We are Fairfax, better than any other chapter out there. And by the way, we meet weekly. Most chapters don't meet weekly, and many don't meet during the summer, because to build authentic connections, you need to show up on a regular basis, and our organizers show up on a regular basis. So next slide, please. We'd love to have you. Most important, we really are about the folks in the room, the community who's come here. And many of us have gotten to know each other. And so a big thank you for everyone to show up. Probably this morning at 9 a.m., there were 10 other networking events you could have gone to, and you chose to come here. And I think that's awesome. So thank you so, so much. I'd have to put on magnifying glass to read the fine print on that last slide, but important to recognize Kauffman. The Kauffman Foundation works with communities. There are over 160 chapters in the United States where communities promote entrepreneurship, education, and opportunities for people to learn, to take risks, and to own their success. I mean, that's cool. And then it own success, be uncommon. That's cool words. So one of the lessons I've learned is think a lot about the last referral you made to someone else.